Thanks for tuning back in, everybody. The Spill episode 3. We have some really important things we want to talk to you guys about tonight. We're going to be discussing how to purchase a car and get a good deal.
Yes, very important for all of us as consumers to know that our money is going to great use and we're getting the best deal possible.
Absolutely. It's one of the most major purchases that you'll ever buy in terms of money and the amount of care and time that you spend on it. It's very important to feel like you're getting a good purchase. So what are some of the things that the average consumer, let's assume that they don't know anything about the car buying process, where can they start, Kendra?
So basically, I feel like, I know you should start at your research. Basically research what kind of vehicle you're wanting, what kind of options are important to you. Once you narrow down that and the vehicle that you're interested in is in your price range and everything like that, then you can kind of start thinking about pre-approvals. It's always good to get pre-approved prior to going to the dealership so you'll know financially where you are as far as interest rates and how much you can actually spend as far as your debt to ratio. A credit union or a bank is not going to let you get into a situation where you're financially strained. So that's pretty good. Do you agree?
Yep, I absolutely agree. As a starting point, what you want to do is research the type of car that you want to purchase first. One of the worst things that you can do is go into a dealership and have no idea what you want to buy, what your price range is, what payment. You're just going in there foaming at the mouth, ready to make a buy that's really unresearched and you're unprepared. So
you're not educated about what you're doing at that moment.
So you have no control ultimately, and that's what we want to prevent. And just to share with you guys a little bit about what we know about buying vehicles, we've been in the business. I sold and financed cars, can desk deals, and then I also, at this point in my career, help with the financing. And so that's one of the reasons why we decided to share this topic with you, because it's so personal to us. So we had to do it day in and day out.
Yes.
For quite a few years. So
yes. So I sold, I bought a lot of vehicles, first of all. And I actually was recruited from the dealership I purchased a lot of vehicles from. The vehicle that I absolutely love is a Lexus, and I've purchased a lot of vehicles, different brands and everything. But once I purchased my Lexus, I liked how I had some luxury, but also it was very affordable as far as repairs and things like that. Because it is a Toyota overall, but you have the luxury and you have the ride, but you don't have the price tag to come with it. And trust me, I've had some vehicles where the price tag is crazy. So anyway, I was a customer and I was recruited to sell vehicles at Lexus. The guy who recruited me on name was J.C. Cobbins. Hey, Jay.
Hey, Jay.
Very, very great guy who educated me and mentored me on how to sell a car. He's seen something in me that I can absolutely do it. And I was one of the top salespeople at the dealership.
Hey. So what that means is we know a little something.
We know a little something.
We wouldn't lead you astray. We wouldn't lead you in the dark. We have information that most consumers don't have access to, or they don't take the time to familiarize themselves with. So again, that's more the reason why we wanted to share.
So as a consumer going over to the other side, and I did a lot of research prior to purchasing vehicles, but I learned a lot more in regards to the car business, because you see what's on the back end, you see how deals are flowing, how they're put together and things like that. So do your research. One of the engines that you could use is, if you have a trade-in, Nada, Kelley Blue Book, True Cars. True Cars is mainly for purchasing vehicles, just trying to see how much the vehicles are going for. But Nada and Kelley Blue Book and Cars.com, all those things, they're really good engines to see what your vehicle is worth. You also, if you're in an area where you can go to CarMax, or sometime you can get online and see how much people will purchase your vehicle for, you can see how much your vehicle would be worth. Now, we all know that if you sell your vehicle outright on your own, you're going to get more money out of your car,
right,
rather than trade in.
And in those the formats that she's talking about, some of those websites, Kelley Blue Book, it'll ask you for all of those specifications. Are you selling it privately, or are you selling it to a dealer? Because there is difference in the price that you'll receive for your vehicle if you do have a trade.
Right.
So if you don't have a trade, one of the things that I like to start with is I also use Kelley Blue Book or Black Book. It's a really great search engine, but you want to get as specific as you can with the details about your car. So use the internet, lock it down, narrow it down to the car, the vehicle that you want. But Kelley Blue Book will allow you to put in the year, make, model, and the options. Package level, the options, what is on that car. Because it could be that you think you're getting this really awesome deal, but the car is the base and it doesn't even have leather. And that's going to make a difference in what you're paying. You know what I mean?
Definitely. Don't get those things confused. And don't be afraid to go into the dealership with a book with your notes. Yeah. I done had plenty of customers walk in on me with all their stuff in line. You're like, okay, this is going to be easy. It's not that all car salespeople are going to want to get over on you. We're not saying that at all.
Absolutely not. We have a lot of great colleagues and friends that are still in the car business that I talk to on a very regular basis.
Right.
And you just have to understand that the car business, they're in business to make money. Now, how much money they can make on you is kind of up to you and how well you do your research. That's all that we're trying to say.
And don't go for there's no room for negotiation. There's always room for negotiation.
Everything is negotiable at the car dealership.
And just because you're walking in with cash, I'm telling you right now, a lot of dealerships, they could care less about your cash. They'll rather have you finance. Just quick note.
And another thing that I would mention too is if you have a substantial amount of cash down, do all of your negotiations up front. And then mention, oh, by the way, I've got $5,000 to put down. Right. Oh, by the way, I've got $8,000 to put down. Because if you don't, you're negotiating with your money. They're not going to move the needle off of their car. Exactly. You're going to be negotiating with the money that you already came to the table with. Exactly. So that's just an important little thing that you can take away. What else do you think is important for a consumer to know starting off?
Also, don't be afraid to walk away from the deal. If you get to the point where you feel uncomfortable, it's getting out of hand to where and another thing, a lot of times people inch you to see how far you'll go. And give me more, you know. If you get to that point, don't be afraid to walk away. Just go ahead and say, hey, I'm going to have to think about this. Leave the dealership. They'll call you. It's not the last car. They're going to call. They want to move inventory. But your best interest, don't make a last minute decision. Don't make a decision that you regret at the end. So
sometimes there are those purchases. If this is a specialty car that you drove 250 miles to get, they only made 20 of them. Well, surely you definitely want to weigh that in and factor it in if you decide to walk away, you know? So those are things that you'll want to take into mind as well. But it's just saying that the dealer has a way of selling to the average customer that, hey, this is the best deal. You need to take advantage of this deal today. If for any reason you don't feel that you need to take advantage of the deal, then by all means come back, do a little bit more research, test drive the next car, and compare and really do the due diligence to find out if it is a good deal. Another really good resource that I like using is Car Gurus.
Oh, yes.
So if you're not really familiar with how to go in and plug in the values for yourself based on the collateral or auto that you choose, it will tell you this car is priced this much above market. This car is priced fairly. This car is priced under the market. So those are other little consumer-friendly ads that can assist you with your car purchase.
Yes. And like you said, when you're comparing, if you have two dealerships in your area, I know most Honda, Toyota, Chevys, all those, they're kind of saturated in the market, in each market, basically. Don't be afraid to basically pin them against each other.
Shop them against each other. Make them earn the business. There's nothing wrong with that because they will. They can and they will.
And you want to know you're getting the best deal. So at the end of the day, if you're negotiating, and that's why I say take your time, do your research, and compare your vehicles because there's warranties out. Oh, another thing, go online to whatever manufacturer that you choose to go with and see what kind of rebates are there and things like that, so you can know if you're going to utilize any of those.
Exactly. I've seen it so many times where people don't even look online on the dealer's website before they go into the dealership to realize that sometimes, hey, there's an advertised special online incentive price, and when you walk through the front door, they won't tell you about it.
Right.
Go to the dealer's website, especially if you're searching for a new car. A lot of times, rebates are specific to certain models or certain times of the year, and you definitely want to make sure you're taking advantage of all of those as well.
Of course. So you want to speak about financing a little bit more in depth?
Yep. So what you can do is, a lot of dealerships now, they have what's called indirect financing. There's two different types of financing. Indirect, which is initiated at the dealership. You submit a credit application, and then the finance team at the dealership will then send your application to the different lenders that they work with to advocate the best rate for you. But they won't tell you the rate. We'll get to that. The other type of lending is direct lending. So that's done by you. You are in coordination with your bank or your existing lending institution. And that way you can go kind of check and be competitive and know what rate you're getting. There's advantages and disadvantages to both, but in the direct example, you have more control. You're already working with an existing bank that maybe your direct deposit is already going through, that maybe, you have a certain teller that you work with. They're going to advocate the best deal and the best rate based on the relationship that you have. You already do business with them, basically. When you go to a dealership, dealerships, their finance contract, they have an opportunity to make money off the rate. They can or can change what the bank sends them. You won't know because they won't tell you. They'll just say, hey, this is the rate we got you. Now, the only time that can change is if you have to check the incentives, because a lot of times at the end of the year, there's big savings. Yes. A lot of manufacturers do summer savings where you can get 0.9, 1.9. Right now, from a finance standpoint, those rates don't exist. They're subvented rates that are only available through the manufacturer. So those are times where, hey, it's probably more advantageous to go ahead and sign at the dealership because they're offering you something that your bank isn't able to. And in that case, all you have to do is, once again, do your research, know what the rate that they can offer you is, and then take that into the dealership. Hey, I saw this online. This is the program that I'd like to sign up for. And there could be stipulations, but it's something that you would know ahead of time if you did your research. So.
Right. And if you already pre-approved, like we stated earlier, you'll already know what your interest rate at the bank is. And then so you'll know if you're going to go direct or going through the...
Or indirect, right. There's less room for any type of variable. There's no middleman. You work with your bank. You find out how much you want to finance from the dealership. They cut you a check. Your loan is through the company that you've already been working with. A lot of times, if you set up, they can give you auto pay discounts for even low or more aggressive interest rate. You take that check right into the dealership, and you sign all your contract documents. Now, some problems that we run into is, let's say maybe your bank's closed, it's a holiday, or it's a Saturday night. Then you may be in a situation where it's more advantageous to go ahead and take the car of your dreams today and sign at the dealership's rates. But what do you do if you talk to your bank advisor on Tuesday and they're like, hey, we have this rate, but you signed a couple points higher at the dealership. Then what you can do, just ensure that the loan is a simple interest loan. And most of them nowadays are, but always ask. If it's a simple interest loan, then there's no penalty for paying it off early. So essentially, you can refinance with your bank, still take advantage of the lower rate at a later time.
And whatever discounts they have.
Exactly. And you can still take advantage of the ancillary products. So ancillary products are going to be like your service contracts, your warranty, your maintenance programs, like your interior and exterior protections. You're still able to elect those programs, both indirect and indirect.
So sometimes those programs that they sell you back in the finance department, all of the maintenance programs, those are basically discounted up front because you're paying for them up front.
Yes.
If you have the ability, just pay cash for it, because if you put it into your loan, you're paying interest on it.
Right, which a lot of people don't like to do. Most people are thinking, hey, I don't want to, the cash down is for things like your ancillary products, like Kendra said, or if you wanted to pay your taxes up front. A lot of people don't like the idea of paying taxes on a car 4 and 5 years down the road. So that would be another good idea for cash down as well.
Yeah.
Cash down also helps to advocate a lower interest rate a lot of times, unless, let's say, you're a 740 plus, then your rate's going to be reasonably low anyway based on your score. But cash is king, and it always helps to have cash down when you're trying to advocate a good rate at the dealership or at the bank.
Right. So you touched a little bit on when the best time to buy a car, when they have those sales. So the best time to actually purchase vehicles, it is when they have the sales, but also at the end of the year. Now, you get the bang for your buck in December. Or at the end of the month.
Exactly.
It's not as good as December because everybody's trying to hit their goal and end out their year, but you're going to get the best deals around those times.
If there's any stretching room or any extra little give, a lot of dealerships have their big quotas and numbers that they're trying to hit their objectives for, and your car deal may push them over the edge. So they're more inclined to work with you and give you those savings at those times that we spoke of.
True. Anything else you want to add to this? I know there's some more that we want to get into, but we don't want this episode to be extra long. So we're probably going to do a part 2. But as far as how to go into the dealership, being prepared, the financing, anything you want to add to that?
Do you want to talk a little bit about for people that maybe are just starting to establish credit too?
Yes. That'd be good.
So that might be another option to where if you're new to credit, it may be a little bit more difficult for you to get approved for an auto loan. So in that case, cash down will definitely help you. You have to start somewhere. So if you're able to get like a secured credit card with your bank or your credit union, secured being you put the money down. So let's say you get a $500 secured credit card, you have to put cash against it, but it's still going to be reporting to your credit bureau, showing that you have positive payment history there. And that's another way that the dealership can be more advantageous to you, because a lot of times they do have second chance lenders and aggressive lenders that are ready to put those type of people into a car in the right situation and circumstance. So that would be another reason where you're a little bit more flexible to go with the dealership's financing options.
So if you have any questions about the things we discussed this evening on part 1, you can always email us at thespill2018@gmail.com. And we can always have a Q&A and answer those. We can always go live or have a show where we're just answering questions about
Absolutely, because I mean, it's pretty much second nature to us. We deal with it a lot every day, and we have over the past few years. So it's harder for us to imagine what questions you would have from the flip side of it, but we would love to talk to you about it in greater detail if you have those questions.
Yes. So stay tuned for the next episode, part 2.
Part 2.